To say the MT-09's introduction to the world was a success is like saying the sky is blue and Lucifer was not a nice man. With its intoxicating three-cylinder motor married to light, flickable handling and an intangible X-factor that does funny things to one's manhood, the last incarnation's domination throughout Europe and beyond was well-deserved. But there was a mild sense of incomplete with the previous model. The suspension was a bit Meccano and its ride-by-wire throttle was a little prepubescent. However, for 2017, the MT-09 on paper has been fixed, with a medley of performance-enhancing upgrades, new forks, a revised shock, the addition of a quickshifter, and a slippery clutch. Plus, all-important fettling to the electronics should remedy next season's motard bias naked. So, has Yamaha fixed it?
Welcome to 44 Teeth. I'm Jason Statham, and this is the 2017 Yamaha MT-09.
Welcome to Mallorca. I love this engine. I think anyone with a beating heart has to love this engine. It's just rich in torque, bags of character, you know, the power when you want it, as with all the MT range pretty much. And you know, it's, again, apart from the noise, it's really difficult to fault. I mean, the ride-by-wire is so much better. Oh, is that wet? That's wet. Oh dear. Oh, what a fucker duck. Yeah, the ride-by-wire is so much better, so much more refined. I still think Yamaha could do something with it. Just that extra level of refinement. It's not as direct and as snatchy and inconsistent as the first model, but it's still quite, you know, still quite difficult to hold a constant throttle. Whether that's got to do with matching up the CP3 characteristics of the triple motor and ride-by-wire, I don't know, or we'll never know. The 09, I don't know whether it's geometry or seat height or whether Yamaha intended it to be more so, but it's just a bit more motard than Super Naked. It's so agile. I mean, you can just put it anywhere you want. With just a whiff of bar, you just put it anywhere you want. I mean, already the front suspension feels massively improved. More progression through the stroke. I mean, it's still quite soft. When you touch the brakes and you put weight on that front end, it's still quite soft. We'll maybe have to dial that out later. Oh, pegs down. Yeah, it's definitely very soft on that front end when you just chuck it off the throttle onto the brake. It's like bloody Jurgen Klinsmann. Oh, that power. That power. Oh, ABS. Slippery. We come down this little Nadgery lane, which looks unsuitable for vehicles. But I'll tell you what, maybe they put it in for a test of suspension, because the old bike would have been unrideable for here. This is pretty good. You know, obviously you still feel the bumps. It's still greasy as, you know, the roads don't look that slippery, but flipping hell they are. The shock has revised settings. I mean, whatever that means, I'll find out later on. it feels stiffer, feels better supported. I mean, the beauty of its the motard based genes is the flickability, you know. It's just doesn't take anything to get it on its side. But of course it's missing a little bit of super naked prowess on the side of the tyre and big lean heroics, but you know, it's not a lot. You just want a little bit more ground clearance, cyclist. That slipper clutch is fucking good. Oh, it was always quite smooth. The previous bike was always quite smooth, but just that added benefit of not having to worry about manual slip or a barrage of engine brake when you close the throttle. It's good. It's just absolutely dead, isn't it? Like, you can't. I could almost whisper, and you couldn't hear the bike. Such a shame. Such a shame. Now, despite its leery manners, there's still a air of sophistication, and you know, it's a bike that just brings confidence straight away. I do love these forks. It has changed, not the balance of the bike, but it's just more compliant, and there's certainly an air of plushness that's crept in. Something that the previous bike didn't have. Wow, that's some view, isn't it? Jesus. Let's go to A mode. Oops, no. Okay, A is most aggressive now. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I already prefer this over standard. Or STD, sexually transmitted disease. It's just a bike that entices you to abuse the throttle and take liberties. Just like, well, the entire MT range really. You know, it's happy to put it along and do the everyday chores, but you know, that throttle wants to be open. 100%. Oh yes. You know, critically, it's impossible to fault the chassis, really. And it was with the old bike. It was just let down by cheap suspension that lacked any progression or quality throughout the stroke, and this is massively better. It's as happy at 3,000 as it is at 10,000, and you know, unlike some sort of naked bikes where they run out of puff or they require, you know, there's no point taking it to the red line, this is definitely red line worthy. Even in these iffy conditions and, you know, Nadgery roads, it's crazy. This is such a short gear bike, and first gear is almost redundant. You know, unless you're racing, you're actually racing or escaping the feds or getting chased by someone you don't like, it's utterly redundant. It's pointless. Oh, some dry corners. So I've just found out as well that it wasn't mentioned in the press pack. Oh shit, that's greasy. Whoa. But the shock has been changed as well. So it basically gets the XSR 900 shock, and basically it's a new damping rod. Yeah, it's so much more neutral mid-corner. You used to get that sort of bouncy, wobbly, blancmange mess with the old model, and it was very, very rear biased. So the bike feels flatter and more responsive mid-corner. It doesn't feel as, you know, sat on its arse so much, but That's definitely a good thing. Oh! Now, very rarely do you have to wait for the revs to play catch up with your throttle hand, but when it does, you get that induction bark. Oh, so addictive. Someone was asking me the other day, what would you have, the MT-10 or MT-09? And I honestly think the MT-09, with its flickability and its nimbleness and usability, is a better road bike than the MT-10. Yeah, you know, if you want wheelie waving competition, get the MT-10. You know, big wheelies, angry, leery power. But I still think this is a better road bike. There's still a little bit of shock wallowing. I mean, it's not like the old bike with, it was like a kangaroo with anger management issues. Up and down, and lacks any real control. It's not as bad as that, but it still wallows a little bit. Doesn't take much of a bump and a swell to upset it. Oh yeah, the noise. And I suppose, you know, I don't like talking about price and, you know, having to relate to price when it comes to performance, because it is what it is, the bike is what it is. But we can't forget, this bike is 7,775, I think. So, you know, we can kind of forgive the suspension for being a little bit on the budget side. Now, the fact that it's got a quick shifter TC, which is pretty decent, and looks as well as it does, definitely warrants its £7 price tag. I guess it'd be interesting to see how much the Triumph is. This new Triumph Street Triple 67675 or 765 or whatever it is. Because other than that, the Brutale is its only real rival. And I don't know if you could even buy MVs anymore, can you? Okay? Whew. It's difficult to review this bike without categorizing it and compartmentalizing and talking about the changes, because obviously it's still very much an MT-09. It is, you know, you've got to be an expert on MT-09s or haven't ridden back to back to really get the best out of the upgrades. I mean, obviously the quick shifter works, that's a given. The same with the super clutch. The overall, the handling is greatly improved. You know, it's not night and day, but it's a big step up. The bike, it's edging a bit more towards, you know, the super naked category. That's Taylor Mackenzie in front, son of the famous Lee Mackenzie. Of course, he's a 2016 national Superstock champion and factory racer now. I used to be factory once. Yeah, I used to work in a cheese factory. You naughty little thing! I think I've broken my wrists from landing so many wheelies.